A very good evening to you. Welcome to Man Up. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed your holiday today. Wanaume, it is our time. Man Up is that space where as men we get together and have interesting, thought-provoking conversations about what it means to be a man. So we are getting into a few episodes talking about redefining masculinity, looking at masculinity from a different perspective. And tonight we want to kick it off by looking at some stereotypes concerning masculinity and what it means to be a man. I've got two wonderful gentlemen with me in studio to help us with this conversation. First and foremost, boyman advocate and mentor, Chris Otieno. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. I thank you a lot, Asante.
I'm always excited when I have you on the show.
I'm excited to have you too.
Karibu sana.
Thank you, sir.
Also, we have counseling psychologist Nchebere Muriuki. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Finally, we get to host you.
You know?
Yeah.
Asante.
You know, I was just thinking, even before we start talking about male stereotypes, I was just thinking of this whole term of reshaping masculinity. And I'm thinking, do we need to reshape masculinity?
I'm thinking yes.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of work to be done
Okay.
because of what we are seeing out there. And a lot of negative masculinity has come into the glare of the public.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these incidences are being seen.
Yes.
And these are being committed by men. They're being done by fellow men.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go back and look at what is the root cause for these kind of things that they're doing, you find that something is amiss in the whole process of their upbringing, in the whole process of their teaching, and the environment which they're living probably has some differing characters that they've never experienced before. Or you find that some men have exaggerating traits in them that deviates them from the path that we would call positive masculinity.
Okay.
So yes, we need to do a lot to change this notion of masculinity.
Okay. Do you agree or do you have a different thought?
I agree. However, it is not by looking at the light that you get illuminated. It is by plunging into the darkness.
A bit rewind.
Okay. It is not looking into the light that I get illuminated because I have looked at the light. It is by me plunging into the darkness. However, the business of plunging into the darkness is not popular. It's not easy. I agree. We need to redefine this. How do we need to do this? By one, plunging into the darkness, discovering who am I, what's my identity, and inside my identity, what is the concept about me?
Okay.
Now, these three things will lead me into knowing, my environment has contributed this much, my nature has contributed this much. However, this is me. Not also looking at the light is the society. It has what it has to teach us. And that's why you are James Okumu. That's not you. You were given that name. Weren't you?
Yeah.
If you look at it, virtually everything you have, James, is not yours. It's
Everything we have, we were given.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only thing that you have is your mind. And that's the place we need to change.
One of the things many of us were told when we were young is to man up, to be tough. Boys don't cry.
Yes.
And people say that's a stereotype. I'm just wondering, is it a stereotype? Is it a bad thing? I don't know what you think about it.
I would say it's a stereotype, but when they were given with a very good thought of what they think you ought to be.
Okay.
There must have been a reason why somebody, a masculine person in your life, told you, please man up, boys don't cry.
Yeah.
They don't even say please, they say man up.
Man up.
Don't cry.
Yeah.
Isn't it? There must be a reason that you have done.
Yes.
Right? Why is it that way? Because men have certain traits that would define a man. Let's take, for example, dominance. Dominance is a trait. A man is supposed to be a leader.
Yeah.
We go ahead and express leadership in the form of dominance, right? When it is exaggerated. Because there's servant leadership and there's a lot of things that go into leadership. But when you exaggerate that and put it as dominance, then we find that the stereotyping or the name that defines a man then is now being exaggerated to dominance. And when dominance exaggerates itself, for example, in a family setup, then we see what now comes out. An abusive father, or a trophy father, or a helicopter father.
Which one is that one?
These guys who sit and look at you from above, right? And they want to control you as though you're a machine being controlled from a remote. Right?
Yes.
Not giving the child the space to really express who they are from what my good friend here has said.
Yeah.
Environment, nature, and nurture. Yes.
But I'm just thinking, maybe let me ask, if you had the opportunity to be raised up by a father, did you ever see your father cry? Me, I've never seen my father cry.
No, I didn't.
And I'm asking that because up to this day, and I know my dad is watching, he watches all my shows.
Yes.
Up to this day,
Right.
when I go back home to visit with my parents, I always feel secure because in my mind, nature,
Yes.
I believe there's no problem my dad cannot handle.
Excellent.
Because I've never seen him cry. I've never seen him at a place of hopelessness where he doesn't know what to do. So I'm just trying to marry this two. Is that a bad thing? Does it have consequences on the other side for him that I may not be seeing?
I will pick it from the word he used, supposed.
Yeah.
We live in a world that we are supposed. But the word supposed is not what it is.
Okay.
So, back to your question, the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Yes and no, it could have been for a good cause. But we forget this child as it grows, it reckons, and one of the greatest things that children do as they grow up is do a serious observation.
Yeah.
When they observe, that information is recorded permanently in the unconscious. Now, the inferences, the interpretations that lie within that person, the ones that the community, society, and the family gives, the interpretation comes. Yes, I'm a man, I'm not so supposed to. But if you sat down with men, they would wish they could cry. They would wish they could express themselves. Why? Men and women have got emotions.
Yeah.
But we were taught. We are cultured. We don't cry.
Yeah.
So my point is, yes, it is a stereotype. And it is until we men get to a point like this one that we're having, where we are taught.
Okay.
Some of these things that we are doing are harmful to ourselves.
I'm just wondering that whole bit.
Yes.
Could it be then the environments don't do this, but there are other environments that you can do this? Let's just take the example of, man up, men don't cry.
Yes.
Maybe now, you're the leader. You're the one in charge. If you are the leader and you're the one crying, now the people you are leading, how watafanya nini? Yeah. So when you're in front of these people, man up, be tough, give them confidence. Yes, we will make it. But when you go back to your space, you cry all you want. I don't know.
I would agree. You've actually expressed this very well. And I remember when my son was born, my daughter, not son, she came prematurely. In the public, in front of my wife, and my son, I had to show the leadership face.
Yes.
I am the leader of this family. And as a leader, I must show strength. I must show them that I protect them. And I must give that extra space where they see in my presence, just like you said about your father.
Yeah.
In my presence, everything is calm, everything is under control. But let alone after all that public show, I'd go in the evening and find time where I'm alone and by myself. And these things would now map themselves and I'd visualize what I've done the whole day. Man, I'd shed tears. Lots of them. Unlike you, I saw my father cry. And why did he cry? He cried because I had an accident, and I think I was his favorite child. Do you know what that did to me? That carried me away, and he told me that a man, my father, is equally the person that I am. He has time to cry. He has stress just like I have. He has mood swings and things like that. So I was very grateful that I had seen that, because that changed my perception that men should not show emotions. He had told me that himself. Men should not show emotions.
So for you, his breaking down, his crying, did not communicate a sense of weakness.
It did not communicate a sense of weakness to me. It communicated to me that he loved me so much and I was his son. That gave me identity. It took me to a commitment of belonging. Okay. I belong to this guy. This is my father. He's shedding tears because of me. That became different. Now let's flip the coin. When, for example, traditionally, a society was going to war, or an army would go to war with the others. Traditionally, the men were supposed to be in the front. But with time, we've seen women going to the military, we've seen them piloting, we've seen them going to fighter piloting, and things like that, right? So from the beginning, or from initial setup, yeah, a man is supposed to protect that responsibility. And I believe our fathers were defining that to us from that angle.
Yes.
You are the one to protect your family. Don't cry. Men don't cry in those kinds of situations.
I'm looking at it from this perspective, yeah? Not anything against women. Women are emotional. You know, I keep telling my wife, machozi yake inakuwaga tu hapa. Kimgusa tu kidogo, akishake tu kidogo inamwagika. Yangu inakuwaga huku kwa miguu. Before ijae imwagike, you know, so do the things you cry over matter as a man?
Again, I'll say no.
Okay.
When emotions come, the role and the purpose of emotion is to prepare the psyche of a person, the mind. So crying is not a factor of the environment. And this is where we do the mystic.
Yeah.
It is not an issue that I have to show. The system within me that God created in me realizes this. I have to let out tears.
Okay.
So when we equate that tears is a sign of weakness, we go back again to the wrong teaching the society and the nature has taught us. And back to my statement.
Yeah.
We need to plunge into the darkness. Because when I cry, it's a possession within me. I could be in pain. I could be disappointed. I could be acting. It has nothing to do with the other people. Now, this introduces me to another thing that we have been cultured, constructed to seek approval from the society. Man up, you're seeking approval because you do not want to be laughed at. I'll tell you, James, many of the wars and fights and dramas that we see are not the ones that are acted outside here.
Okay.
They are the worst dramas are the ones we act in our minds. And most of them have not been or have not had an opportunity to see the arena. And sometimes we ask this question, what makes these young people to kill these days this way? It's because we've denied them a very fundamental aspect of releasing emotion. When oxytocin in your system goes up, it has to be balanced. And I'll tell you professionally, why do we have a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety issues? It is because we are not able to balance some of the mental issues that our mind should do.
Okay. Wow. Chris, I wonder, where zako zinakuwaga huko chini ama zako ama ziko katikati? You're watching Man Up. We are talking about male stereotypes. We are taking a short break. We'll be back. Kimbia jikoni kunywa maji. We'll be back shortly.
Tomorrow on The Corner.
What are soul ties?
Soul ties is more inclined into the spiritual aspect.
Well, if you slept with 20, 30 people, 100, you have 100 soul ties?
When I connect to you first, there is something that will attract me to you.
When you find your identity, it becomes easier to connect with another person again. Because, oh, he looks like a humble guy, but who told you what you see is what he is?
Don't miss out on The Corner tomorrow at 8:30 p.m.
Welcome back to Man Up. Tonight we are talking about stereotypes about masculinity, and we are focusing in more on the emotional bit. And it's one of those things. Sometimes you don't know, do I go this way? Do I go this way? But let's look at other things apart from the emotional thing. You know, we live in a culture today that sometimes it even becomes hard to distinguish men and women. You know, back in the day, a man was like this, a woman was, you know. But now you find even some jobs. You know, I remember growing up, you wouldn't find a man working in a salon. Nowadays, you have men working in salons. You know, back in my day, you know, when I tried to keep long hair, my mom would not hear anything of it. But now we have men who put on earrings, who have got long hair, who go for manicures and pedicures and facials and all that. Do those things really matter, or are they just stereotypes that a man cannot do that?
I'll take. Again, there are two things that you've brought here.
Yeah.
The societal dynamism, change, and development that we are experiencing now.
Yes.
And we should not ignore that. Because these young men are born in this environment.
Yeah.
That's a factor we should always have. You and me were from another different environment.
Yes.
Now, mixing the two becomes problem number one, obstacle number one. So the question is are there roles for men? Are there duties for men? If we look at it from where I come from, Meru, men do not enter the kitchen. It's a taboo. Stated, well analyzed in our culture.
Yeah.
And we have constantly carried that. That was our time. Now, economic factors, the environmental factors, do not even give me the opportunity to be able to have enough piece of land so that I can build a house away for my son. The question I'm left with, do I want to change with my environment, or do I want to stick with a certain practice?
Okay.
So where I sit, I would not have a problem with the current dynamism that we are finding. I will appreciate, honestly, I will not find you with long hair like a woman. It is not your problem.
Yes.
It is not my problem.
Yes.
It's how we are constructed. However, today, for our sons and these young people to work in a salon, it's about making a living and earning. So,
but doesn't that environment affect you as a man? Because if you're working in a salon, you know, you're hanging around women the whole day, touching their hair, touching their nails. Doesn't that affect? I'm just wondering. It's an honest question.
It's an honest question, which has a lot of fact in it, a lot of water in it.
Yeah.
For you to fit in an environment, there must be an environmental adaptation.
Yes.
Now, I work in a salon, all right? And what does the environment in a salon look like? I've got to be touchy.
Yeah.
Touchy is not a man's business, as we've been stereotyped, all right?
Yes.
We've been stereotyped that men, even when you're saying hi, it's a short thing. Hi. Not those long hugs. If I see my son hugging another boy for long, then I have red flags. Something is not right here. Because the stereotype is men don't do that kind of.
Yes.
But now the society has changed. And we must allow our children to grow the dynamics of the changing society. But of course, we must still guide them. It is our responsibility.
Is there a line? Is there a line somewhere? The reason I'm asking this is because some of these things we are talking about, they're more inclined towards our young men being a bit more feminine.
Yes.
The long hair stuff, the earring stuff and all these things, you know, the nail polish and all these things. I'm not saying they're bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's your cup of tea, well, sour.
Have it.
Some of us, we like rough, being a man's man. But is there a line? Because he made them male and female. Is there a line? Should there be a difference in some things that hapa hivi we don't cross?
Yes, there definitely must be a difference on what line you don't cross and what you cross.
Yeah.
But we are now saying this society has changed. We are seeing even much, much stronger women taking the positions of men. You get it? And they're actually excelling. And something that has come out over time is that ladies or women are more detailed in terms of execution of their work as compared to us. We are more supervision. But that's a general thing. But intricately, you'll find that ladies are more detailed. Now, when you come to masculine responsibilities, my firm belief and what I spread out to the guys, right? There must be flexibility. My mom taught me how to cook. I can bake a cake for you because I was taught that. And I sit with her and ask her, Mommy, why did you do this? She tells me, Chris, you know, by the time I gave birth to you guys were 8. 6 of you were boys.
Wow.
I had to do something.
Yes.
Because I know something could happen. Maybe I could go for another delivery. How would I leave you? And one day she left us. And we were very young, and my dad was with us. And Dad, you know, he was a military guy and very strong. You don't want to correct him. Yeah. Because he's strong. His strength is very strong. So we sat down we're going to school. So he sat down to make tea for us. Kachukua maji akaweka kwa sufuria akawakisha gas. Hiyo maji ilichemka 1 hour. And then he asked us a question. Yes. Mbona hii maji haitani into tea, haitani into chai? That is the time we got an open space to tell him, Dad, you must put milk, you must put kahawa or majani, then you put sugar, then it turns into tea. Then he told us, do it. And we did it, made ourselves some tea. But why did we do that? Because Mom had foreseen a future for us. So it is important that some of these responsibilities where we say you must draw thin lines, they must also be passed over.
I like that. I like that. You seem like you wanted to add something.
Yes, and true. The aspect of training. I concur with you 100%, Chris. Our role as men is so key, both to our sons, to our daughters, and to our wives. It is very essential. We lack that, we've lost. It is impossible for me to fight the society. Where do I draw the line? Exactly. Where do I become the center of modernity, reason, logic, and approaching these things in a different way, whereby I know my society requires this. But honestly speaking, I'm the leader here, I'm the man here, and it goes this way. How do I marry this and this and have something great and good that is functional, beneficial, and structural to the person? Because if you lack structure, then as a man, you have a problem.
You know, I love what both of you said about your mothers. You know, as much as society expected something different, they shut the door.
And got us there.
They had a vision, and they got you to where you needed to be. And I'm just wondering, as men today, because you advocate for the boy child and the men, there's a lot of pressure on men. You know, to be this and to be this and to be this and to be this. I find this very interesting, that we have so much expectations on the man, and when he seems to be, you know, crumbling under this weight, you know, we point fingers and we say, you know, you see, we told you this man, we told you this man, we told you. So as a man, how do I adapt in this kind of a generation with all these pressures to become what I'm supposed to be with all these voices?
Thank you. What I personally think, the training of our men should really, really focus on the next day. On the next day, things are changing. It will be difficult for me to teach some old trades to my son. But it's also equally important for him to know that these trades were there and they were being used. Because when his son is grown to his age, where I am and where he is, this will be stretched much, much more. Much, much more. Sure. Even to make it even much harder, there will be artificial intelligence around. And that's going to take up a lot of space for men and a lot of space for women. So it is the responsibility of this man. I'm going back to leadership because I believe we were placed here for leadership. To lead that family and transit them into the new elements of the new society or coming into the new society. So for us to ensure that our men are complete, we send them wholesomely into that society to be there and stabilize and lead and do what a man is supposed to do, then it is our responsibility as their fathers.
Yeah.
One, open up these lines of communication. That's the most difficult thing we have.
Yeah.
We don't have this conversation with our children. We need to be very intentional about it. Go out there, discuss the things with your sons. For example, sexual virility. Nobody in our time would discuss that with the parent.
No.
Even the parent would not even raise that. But that is a requirement of the society right now.
Yeah.
We must teach them. Because if we don't teach them right, if we don't share our conviction on sexual virality with reference to a man, what if they abuse it? What if they exaggerate that thing? Yeah? Because palembele, James, Miss Yoni Kileni naona sasa. I am seeing a much, much harder society dominated by artificial intelligence, and they cannot be left behind.
Very, very true. I think it boils down to something you said when we began, because I think the whole question of identity is what disturbs a lot of us, and so we have to play to what society thinks or the pressure that's coming from here, you know, because they say this now, you want to try and be this. You know, how do we as men, as we finish, get to that place where we understand who we are? For me as an individual, for me as James, you know, forget about my wife, my kids, my dad, my mom. For me as James, how do I get to that place where I fully begin to get a grasp of who I am and what my life is all about?
Discovery of you. I'm picking from where James has left and from our mothers. They had the ability to know a day is coming when these boys I have will require not to man up, to take charge, to lead. Now, the leadership has to be taught. There's something we have neglected as a people. Children will learn anything that you bring to them in teaching. Now, I will change a little bit in agreement with what James has said. Yesterday is gone. We have done with it. Tomorrow will always be there. And tomorrow will come with its own problems. Artificial intelligence and all these things. The space we need to be right now is the here and now. To train our sons to be equipped, ready now, so that they can face tomorrow. Because if they do not have the muscle now, if they do not have the capability now, if they do not know their position, then they don't have an idea who they are. So the ability to teach is our responsibility, so that men can know who is a man. What's my identity? Is my identity agreeing with the nonsense of the society? Is it only sticking to the old patterns that has been defeated with time and space? How can I prepare for tomorrow that I don't know? He's talking of 20 years. You know, but if you prepare today, then you'll be able to face tomorrow because you are fully equipped.
Awesome. Gentlemen, asanteni sana. Thank you for your time. Unfortunately, all good things need to come to an end. Some of us need to go to the kitchen and cook. Thank you so much for being a part of Man Up. Until next week, have yourselves a great evening. God bless you.